In 1972, 12 humans had walked on another world, and then we stopped. Not because we couldn't go back, we stopped because we chose not to. For 50 years, no human has stood on the moon, but that's about to change. And by the end of this video, you'll realize this isn't about the moon at all. It's about who controls your future. They're going back. Not robots, not silent probes, but humans. After 50 years, NASA is preparing to send astronauts back to the moon. And this time, it's not a visit. But here's what genuinely should disturb you. Why now? The last human stood on the moon in December 1972. Gene Kerner looked back at Earth one final time and humanity left. No return missions, no permanent base. Just silence. Technology didn't fail us. And once you see the real reason, you'll start noticing it everywhere. We became more advanced every decade. So why would a civilization that touched another world choose not to go back? The answer isn't in engineering. It's buried in something far darker and far more human. The moon landings were never truly about exploration. They were about winning. When the Soviets launched Sputnik in 1957, it sent a message that shook every government on the planet. Space was no longer distant. It was strategic. It was a weapon. Kennedy's 1961 promise. Not because it was necessary, but because it proved power. And once the flag was planted and the world washed in awe, the motivation disappeared. The race was over. But here's what nobody tells you. The moment we stopped going to the moon, we set a clock ticking. And that clock has almost run out. The Apollo program cost over $25 billion in the 1960s. Adjusted for today, over $150 billion. $150 billion. Let me make this uncomfortable. If we can spend that much to go once, why haven't we gone back in 50 years? Once the political pressure faded, that investment became impossible to justify. Politicians asked uncomfortable questions. Citizens asked uncomfortable questions. Why go back to a place we've already been when there are wars and poverty right here? And quietly, without announcement, the moon stopped being important. But urgency can return, and when it does, it returns with a force that changes everything. Something happened in the last decade that made the moon feel urgent again, and it has nothing to do with the science. For decades, we sent machines instead of humans. Missions became cheaper, safer, more efficient. But something was missing. Humans. Machines can collect data, but they cannot inspire. And without that human element, space slowly faded from public consciousness. Then, almost without warning, a new competition began. Not between two countries, between multiple global powers. And unlike the old space race, this one has a prize worth trillions. The moon you learned about in school is not the moon scientists see today. Water ice, billions of tons, locked in permanently shadowed craters. Water that can be split into oxygen to breathe and hydrogen for rocket fuel. A fuel depot 250,000 miles from Earth. But that's not even the most extraordinary part. Helium-3, a rare isotope almost absent from Earth, abundant on the moon, potentially the perfect fuel for nuclear fusion. Clean, limitless energy. Scientists estimate the moon holds enough helium-3 to power human civilization for thousands of years. And here's the part nobody's saying out loud. This isn't just about energy. It's about control. Now you understand why nations are racing back. Whoever gets there first could control the energy future of Earth itself. The new space race has already started. China has concrete plans to build a permanent lunar research station by 2035. Their program has accelerated faster than any analyst predicted. This is not a future possibility. While you're watching this, missions are already being planned. Deals are being made and decisions are being locked in. Private companies have reduced launch costs by over 90% compared to the Apollo era. The race isn't just between governments anymore. It's between competing visions of who controls the resources beyond Earth. And in the middle of all this, NASA has launched the most ambitious moon program in history. One that doesn't plan to visit, it plans to stay. That program is called Artemis. This is not Apollo 2. Artemis is designed to make humanity a permanent presence on the moon. The plan includes the Gateway, a space station permanently orbiting the moon, and repeated missions that build infrastructure on the surface. A permanent human presence on another world. The moon is no longer the destination. The moon is the launch pad. But Artemis carries something Apollo never had. A purpose that goes beyond politics and competition. And when you understand what that purpose is, this whole story changes. Why now? Because every piece of the puzzle finally aligns. Technology has matured. Private investment has slashed costs. Geopolitical pressure has returned. But most importantly, the purpose has changed. We are not going back to win a race. We are going back because staying on one planet is dangerous. One asteroid, one pandemic, one catastrophic event. A single planet species is always one disaster away from extinction. Every civilization in history thought it had time. Every one of them was wrong. The moment that defines the era we are entering is closer than you think. Imagine this moment. A human steps onto the moon, but unlike 1969, they don't look up wondering when they'll go home. They look around at a construction site. Habitat modules being assembled. Solar arrays powering equipment, extracting water from ice beneath their feet. The skeleton of something no human has ever built. A home on another world. Before, a species born on Earth. After, a species that left. The moon is the first step. The question is what kind of future we choose to build when we get there. Remember what I asked at the start? Why now? Why 50 years of silence? Because it was never about technology or money. It was always about survival. The moon was never the destination. It was the test. A silent world waiting to see if we were ready. Not as visitors, but as builders. Half a century later, we finally are. Because the moment humans step on the moon again, you won't just be watching history. You'll be living at the beginning of something irreversible. This is what we explore on Orbital Vistas. We don't just show you space, we help you feel its scale and see your place within the greatest story ever told. If this changed the way you see what's coming, subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay with us. And tell me in the comments, would you go to the moon or is Earth still enough? Until next time, Keep looking up.